and welcome to the SVG-TV news for Tuesday, February 17th. I'm Khalil Cato with the details. The importer of LPG cooking gas, Rubis West Indies Limited, is calling on the government to make changes to its wholesale regulated prices, which took effect yesterday. The company's managing director, Mauricio Nichols, in a letter to Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Commerce, Nathaniel Williams, outlined his company's concern about the new regulated prices approved by the government. Nichols states that the new prices were approved without any discussion with the company and without the proper consideration of all factors affecting the company's acquisition cost for LPG delivered into St. Vincent. He says the new regulated wholesale prices approved by the government are significantly below Rubis's current acquisition cost and would result in negative margins for the company, which they cannot accept at this time. Noting that their acquisition cost has increased significantly due to the new commercial practices adopted by Phoenix Park Gas Processors Limited, the natural supplier of propane and butane to the Eastern Caribbean market, including SVG, the Rubis CEO is asking the government to give consideration to this factor and reconsider the wholesale prices. The company is proposing $132 for the maximum wholesale price for a 100-pound cylinder instead of the government's regulated price of $101.25. As for a 25-pound cylinder, the company is proposing $35.25 instead of the regulated price of $27.06, and for a 20-pound cylinder, $28.25 instead of the government's $21.65. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves says he will not be tolerating any further games on the issues of fuel and LPG pricing here. Speaking to members of the media earlier today, Dr. Gonsalves says he was determined to have the price of LPG fall and explains that following a recent meeting with public servants and Rubis officials, they were unable to get from Rubis what their base price was. Prime Minister Gonsalves says the government then took a decision to set a new price and to do so based on their own research and what was practiced in other jurisdictions that do not provide subsidies.
Take the 20-pound cylinder. We put the maximum wholesale price at $21.65. Now, Sol is buying from Rubis, and Sol is saying, listen, it's at $21.65. For the wholesale, and the retail is 29. The margin there of $8.35 has to be distributed between Shell. $7.35, sorry, had to be distributed between Shell and the retail distributors. And I told the fellas from Rubis, you must negotiate a number smaller than the maximum for Sol, since they're a big purchaser from you. If Sol tells you that they have difficulties with the extent of their margin.
Prime Minister Gonsalves further stressed that he is not going to allow consumers here to feel the effects of the pricing saga.
Because I told them, if you do not work it out in accordance with the normal market forces when I set the maximum, you only are going to put me in a position where I will reduce the maximum wholesale price. I could reduce it from 21 today and put it to 1965. I am not going to allow the consumer to suffer in respect of price and in respect of security of their supplies. In 2005-2006, the battle I fought with Texaco, I'm not afraid of fighting any battle with anybody in the interest of the consumers of this country. Absolutely not. And I want to make that clear so that everybody can hear me unequivocally, with no water inside of my mouth.
Rubis, formerly Texaco, is one of the two companies here that brings LPG into SVG, along with PetroCaribe. Meanwhile, country representative of Rubis West Indies Limited, Elroy Edwards, said that the company is having discussions with the relevant parties on the matter, namely the Ministry of Trade and the Ministry of Finance. He said the company's interest is to provide the Vincentian public with the best service, noting that SVG Rubis West Indies Limited will not do anything that would adversely affect their customers, and that they are working assiduously to come to a resolution or common understanding on the matter. SVG-TV News understands that since the announcement of the drop in the price for LPG, a number of restaurants and other businesses have been taking advantage of the opportunity to stock up on the 100-pound cylinders. And we also took to the streets to find out how people felt about the overall drop in the fuel prices. Most of the persons interviewed are pleased with the reduction.
It's a break, and it's about time that the government take into consideration that oil price in the market is much lower than what they've been selling gas here for. So I think it's about time.
I went and checked one down by web this morning. $43. The old stock he has selling still. Yeah. And that is good for me and good for all Vincentian.
The gas prices dropping, it's good. Good for the public and otherwise. Alright, because yesterday I passed and everybody was gassing up. They're taking advantage of it. So it's good.
It's a good thing, long expected, you know what I mean? It's called the gas prices drop a long time, you know what I mean, internationally, so why you was sticking in St. Vincent? So we love it, especially the van drivers them, it's a good thing.
I feel great, man. Money, when you're working, not getting much money, so dropping the gas is a really good deal. So what's the government?
Well, it's pretty good that the gas prices are going down, right? But I'm praying that the consumer would benefit and not just the businessmen, because the businessmen seem to use rising price and decreasing price to exploit the consumer. Hopefully that the consumer would benefit this time. And as prices go down in gas, if the price of the raw materials go down, obviously the cost of goods should go down. So I hope that we should benefit from it, yeah?
I think it's a good idea because it's really rough with people, the $40 and things. Sometimes some people doesn't really believe that it's that, but I think it's a little benefit for us here to see it drop and help us out a lot.
And then keeping with the current trend globally, you know, because when the oil price go up, I mean everything go up, so then if the oil price drop now, well, it's supposed to drop, so I think it's just natural.
Well, before the drop in prices at the pumps, it has been very, very hard on the pockets of the owners of vehicles to fill their tanks with gas. So now it's a lot easier. You know, my brother said that since 2008, he hasn't seen the prices as they have been now. So we're very grateful for the drop.
But I think we have to go just beyond Vinlek and the gas station, because not everybody has light, not everybody have a vehicle to enjoy the benefits of that decrease. We need to look at the cost of goods on the shelf for the supermarket, because you keep hearing people saying in time past, oil price gone up because transportation was more expensive due to the increase in fuel prices. So now we have a drop in the fuel prices. We should have a drop in the food prices so everybody could.
I happy, I glad, because I will save something for wet days. As I say, God will ever bless Dr. Ralph Gonsalve in this country here.
The gas price is a good move in the right direction, and it is a positive move. Well, dropping the gas price allow people to save something in the pocket.
It's just too expensive, and I find it is really good for people especially. Yes, those people who don't have the money to buy. Even me myself, sometimes very hard at times.
Yeah, because I save a little more extra money in my pocket.
And what you gonna do with that extra money now?
Well, I'll put it to a better use in a savings. I'll put it to a savings.
While the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has publicly congratulated the government and people of St. Kitts Nevis on the peaceful conduct of yesterday's elections, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has expressed disappointment with the actions of the island's Supervisor of Elections. In a news release earlier today, Dr. Gonsalves expressed his government's disappointment that the office of the Supervisor of Elections in the Twin Island Federation had not officially declared the results of the preliminary count and did not put the appropriate measures in place to effect the final count in accordance with the law and established practice.
This unprecedented tardiness of the Office of the Supervisor of Elections in both respects has given rise to unnecessary political uncertainty, particularly against the backdrop of the controversies surrounding the motion of no confidence against the government and the alteration of the constituency boundaries. The democratic institutions of state, namely the law courts and the general elections themselves, have worked satisfactorily despite hiccups along the way. It is not acceptable for the Office of the Supervisor of Elections to abdicate its legal and customary obligations or responsibilities. Peace, patience, and calm, and enduring calm, are requisites now more than ever for the political leaders, civil society, and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Mature political leadership wedded to the values of democracy, constitutionalism, law and order is especially required.
Dr. Gonsalves says as governments, they all accept the verdict of the people in the highest traditions of the practice of democracy in this Caribbean civilization.
The Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has spoken on the above and related matters with Dr. Denzel Douglas, leader of the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party, and Dr. Timothy Harris, leader of Team Unity. He has also been in oral communication with other Prime Ministers in our region, including Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, chairman of the OECS. The Prime Minister of St. Vincent and Grenadines has expressed too his government's views on the matter to the Secretary General of CARICOM and other important Caribbean personalities. He has been unable thus far to reach the chairman of CARICOM, Prime Minister Perry Christie of the Bahamas. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines continues to respect the independence of all lawful institutions in St. Kitts and Nevis. We recognize too the commitment of CARICOM and the OECS to the upholding of our profound democratic values as expressed in their foundation documents.
Key local and regional stakeholders will come together on Monday to look at the implications for consumers as it relates to the Lime Flow merger. The consultation, organized by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, Commerce and Information Technology, is the first of its kind in the OECS and is organized in collaboration with the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, the NTRC, and the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. The main objective of the consultation is to highlight the potential advantages and disadvantages of the merger in the local and regional contexts. It will also sensitize and educate the public on the particulars of the merger and garner the public's view on it and the possible implications to consumers. Panelists will include representatives from Lime and Flow, Digicel, the NTRC, the Eastern Caribbean Telecommunications Authority, ECTEL, the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, the business community, and the National Consumer Association. The consultations are scheduled for February 23rd at the Methodist Church Hall from 4:30. Businessman Leon Bigabig Samuel is standing behind his legal team in the face of some criticism that they failed him by not providing an argument to the government that no quarry license was necessary given the nature of his business. Earlier this week, the government informed Samuel that he will no longer require a quarry license to resume his mining operations in Rabaca, after the authorities instructed the closure of the business some 4 years ago. On Saturday, Samuel told journalists that he is confident that his legal team led him in the right direction and provided him with the best advice.
It was all our intention never to really take this matter to court, because even my brother, who works at IMF, senior director at IMF now, very high in IMF, came on site right here. When he saw what happened, he said, we're not going to take this matter to court. Let me try to see if we could get it rectified, because all of us thought that this would have been resolved in about 6 months. We never knew we were going to take 4 years. So for me, The reason why we haven't gone to court with the issue and the legal team advised me the way they did is because we wanted to leave the door open to get it resolved in the quickest possible time, which is 4 years.
Samuel says his legal team had simply decided on fulfilling the wishes of the government and explains that he does not intend on seeking redress from the government for what he terms as the unnecessary closure of his business.
My legal team knew that, but because the government said, right, that we need one, because when he did his research, he said, bigger, as far as I could see, you would not fall under the category of a license, but we were just playing along, just going along with the authority because we wanted to please them so that we could get our business back up and running in the quickest possible time. So that's the reason why we're just following along with the government really. So now, you see now, so the government now, in the process now, have put themselves into this predicament to the public, to show the public that they themselves were very incompetent in what they were doing, they and the technical team. Good Lord in heaven, and the people who are here as witness today, and the press so far has been able to bring the issue to thus far so that we can get back our license. I personally believe that the press and the people here and the good Lord in heaven, with the strength you're going to give me, going to press the government to restore the business.
Meanwhile, two of the former employees of Bigger Trucking and Blocks Construction Company Limited have for the first time spoken out publicly on how their lives have been negatively altered by the closure of the company 4 years ago. The former employees were among several persons who joined the Tarabaca on Saturday, February 4th, to be a part of what Leon Samuel dubbed as the revival of his business. The former employees, Faustina Batiste, a heavy equipment operator, and senior operations personnel Rochelle De Freitas, say they have not been able to obtain a full-time job since the closure of the company and have been finding it extremely difficult to make ends meet.
I would say negatively because up to the off now I cannot get a proper job. It's just like part-time here and there. And I have kids to send to school and bills to pay. Sometimes when I study, like when I used to be in a job and get my salary weekly, like I want to cry.
My name is Rochelle De Freitas. I'm from Sales Westport. I was employed at Bigger Trucking for 11 years before we were closed. And since the closure, I was home not working. I'm home for the past 4 years without a job. To make ends meet, well, I have to depend on my father. He's what I depend on. I have 2 small kids.
Several third and fourth form students of the History and Social Studies will be presenting arguments to distinguish local persons as national icons. The students will present their arguments as they compete in Portraits, a local history figure competition. A national icon is a Vincentian considered to have contributed significantly to national development. Students' proposals must include basic background information on the icons such as greatest accomplishments, lasting legacy, and impact on the course of history in the country. The local history figure contest will take place on Thursday, March 19th at the Peace Memorial Hall from 9 a.m.